All righty. Welcome to the Barter Black Podcast, which happens I have to always remember this, the first and third Tuesday of the month, where we interview one of our members on the platform. I think we've been doing the podcast for at least 6 months now. It's been working out really, really well. So if you are just joining us, welcome. If you have attended before, you know you are in for a great session. And I want to welcome Erica in for the podcast today. And we're going to just jump right in. We're not going to waste any time. So, first, I want you to start with who you are and what you do.
All righty. Well, my name is Erica Bourne. I am so honored to be here. Thank you, Nicole, for having me. I am the founder of Erica Bourne Consulting. I'm a strategic advisor. And some people don't really know what that means or like strategy of what. I do help businesses on a wide array of different strategies. But I like to think of myself as your next strategic business partner. One of the things I like to do is help my clients restructure the questions around the solutions that they need and not just offer them solutions. And this is in the realm of operations, specializing in organization, process, and of course strategy for their vision alignment.
Okay. All right. So, to begin, what led you into strategic consulting and organizational development work? Where did it all start?
Oh, Jesus. Okay. So I think it really started with um, just the way that I think naturally. I like to say that my superpower is recognizing patterns and connecting dots. And as raw and granular as that is, it's so helpful when it comes to problem solving in the logical way that I think through various different things. My background is technical, so I have a degree in computer science. Software engineering, mathematics, that whole thing. And then I have a master's in project management. So I stepped into the technical project management world. And I've just always been really good at puzzles and figuring things out and putting things together and identifying gaps and process improvements and those types of things. And the structure and everything. I love structure. I love organization. I like those things that most people don't like. I'm passionate about, which makes me such a perfect fit to be a strategic business partner for people because then they could do the things they're passionate about and then I can help structure and clean up the operation. So that's kind of where it came from, just how my brain works, being able to be a big picture person and help people shape their vision, but then also being able to break it down into the granular task level into how to actually get those things done.
Yeah, it's actually funny that you love structure. I do too. Like things have to be in a certain order. Like I need forms. If I just need it to be structured. Where can I go find the information that I need? I don't need to search through emails and all of those things. That's why I love standard operating procedures and all of those things. But most entrepreneurs don't work that way. So
Same
we
thing.
have to have someone who can do the things that we don't know how to do, but also we don't like to do in
Exactly.
business. Okay, all right. So you've worked across corporate, government, and entrepreneurship. How did those experiences shape how you support business owners today?
It just gave me like such a broad repertoire to pull from. I had a nonprofit organization back when I lived in Florida, and that was successful. It took off pretty quickly, too quickly. I learned that quote unquote failure can also be scaling too quickly and not being prepared for abundance, right? And a lot of people don't know that. And so that's one of the things I help my clients with is you can actually do very well and fail and not because of lack of preparation for that. The corporate world, I worked at a startup for a little while, so I have a technical startup, and then I also worked for the government, the federal government in the intelligence community. And that just, really shaped me and forged me into like a lot of strategic thinking.
Yeah, that's very interesting. broad range of things to bring into, your expertise and working with entrepreneurs. So what was the moment you realized structure and strategy was the missing pieces from entrepreneurs? Yes, we love to do it all, but we can't do it all. So what made you say that this was the missing piece?
I learned it while working in the large corporate structures, right? I learned it in government. I learned it in those settings because each of those settings they break down into at the organizational level, which is almost like small companies within themselves. And I looked at leaders who are really trying to push their vision. They really wanted to get things done, but things weren't moving or they weren't moving at the pace that that leadership wanted. And so, in my role as a technical PM, just taking a seat back and just watching it holistically, I'm like, hey, they have the right people. The people are smart, but the organization, it's not organized in such a way where the right roles, the right people aren't in the right roles. The accountability doesn't seem to be there. Like there's various different breakdowns in communication. And so that's where I started with the organization part. And then the next piece of it being process. It's like, what processes do we have in place? How can we make this thing efficient? Like, what are we trying to? Everything boils down to inputs and outputs, right? And so a lot of times the inputs weren't correct for the right outputs. And that's your process. That's your operational side of things. And then strategy, strategic vision alignment. That's the other part of it. It's, do we even truly understand what the vision is? Is everyone bought into that vision? And what's our strategy? Meaning that it's a war term for how are we going to win this, right? How are we going to meet this goal? And so we have to apply that right strategy and make sure that your team, your army is on board with that strategy. So in those different, in that large organization, um, constructs is where I learned that. And then small businesses, it's not much different from that. It's actually on a like more easier to wrap your head around scale, and being able to start when a company is, new or it's shifting or they're about to scale is much better than waiting down the road when now there's a lot of issues and we got to plug holes, right? So being able to lay that foundation down early is paramount.
Awesome. So you talked about businesses and leaders. What types of businesses and leaders do you feel you're most called to support right now?
My sweet spot is technical. I like technical teams. I love working with technical people. And now, with the caveat, I will say that I feel like everybody should be technical because we are living in a technological era. And so, if you aren't incorporating technology, then you are not running your business as efficient as it should be. But the more technical, the better. I love working with software engineers. I love anyone that has or needs a digital footprint, which is pretty much everybody at this point. And so if they don't have it, I like to introduce that to people.
This would you say it reminded me of, I'm I'm not gonna say I'm telling my age because it is what it is. It reminds me of when, cell phones were first. We had the pagers, but then we moved on to the cell phones. We had this. Did we have we had the cassette tapes before we had the CDs, right? So there's an
Yeah,
evolution.
I'm a millennial. I understand. Yes, yes, I was there.
There's an evolution that we have to, and businesses have to, kind of follow to be up to par with everyone else, and we can't stay stagnant in, no, I'm not using that, or this is not the way it's supposed to be. So that's what I heard
Yeah.
when your answer for just saying that. Okay. All right, so you talk about operational gaps and stalled momentum. What are the most common gaps you see in growing businesses?
I think the most common gaps are when the owners don't really want to. It's one of those, hey, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And that is true to an extent. However, when it comes to scaling your business and taking it to the next level, it doesn't have to be broke. We're making it better. And so a lot of businesses get stuck in the success of a mom and pop level and then they want to take it to the next level, but they don't know how to go there because they don't know how to let go of what's always been working for them. And they can't really wrap their head around what's that next thing.
I'm picking up everything you are putting down tonight, Erica, because I believe in it all, which leads me to my next thing. Many entrepreneurs focus heavily on marketing. A lot of us sell, 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 revenue first. Where does structure fit into the growth journey?
Oh my gosh, everything. And when you talk about marketing, right? Because there's marketing strategies. I think one thing that a lot of business owners have to be mindful of is almost every industry is changing right now, right? I talked about how we're in a technological era, and with the advances of AI and the way that we psychologically respond to it, it's all shifting, which means the way that we do marketing has to also shift. And a lot of business owners, because they're so busy doing the passion project, busy working on what they're working on, they're taking a lot of, I hate to say it, antiquated techniques of marketing to market their business because it worked for people maybe even 2, 3 years ago. And not to say that it's bad, but we have to think outside the box, right? And this is where that structure and strategy really has to change because everyone's marketing today, it's not going to look the same. I mean, even down to the psychology of, you know, a human being, right? And our attention spans that are evolving, right? How we see various different things, like the advances of social media, like how are you marketing your business and the type of business that you have. So if you don't understand the structure of your business and really that vision and where you're going, you won't really be able to lay down a marketing strategy that fits your business.
It's so much to
Mhm.
do as a business owner. And it's very important for anybody who is watching right now or who will see the replay. It's very important to make sure that we have these particular experts in our business so we don't have to worry about all the things because it gets overwhelming. You get stressed out, but things like this with the structure and the strategy and all of those things really do help you feel a little better, not only just your business but you personally. It just makes you I'm like an automation bandit. Like I love automation. I love structure. And one of the things that I try to do is every quarter go in and look at our processes to see how we can make them better. But just having someone who knows the ins and outs and everything is just super, super important. So, how, not how, but can you explain the Born OPS method and how it helps businesses scale?
Absolutely. So I actually touched on it a little bit earlier. So OPS actually stands for organization, process, and strategy. And that's just laying down that organizational structure. Your people, people, people. Like at the end of the day, we're in the industry, we're in the business of people, right? So that's why that organization part is first, like getting your organization structured in such a way that your people are in the right places, that they feel valued and you're using them, the their talents and what they bring to the table in the right constructs and the right roles is very important, right? So that organizational piece is foundational. Processes, like I said earlier, right? That's how you do your operations. That's the automation that you really like, right? That's filling in those gaps, that's finding efficiencies, that's not wasting your time, and that's just not finding solutions, right? That's also, let's reframe the problem so that we can make sure that the solutions are correct. That's not wasting your money going out there buying some product that you think is going to be the answer to all your problems, and then you just wasted a ton of money hiring a person or buying a product because you didn't even know what your real problem actually was. So that's that middle process piece. And strategy is really over, it's the gravy on all of it, but that's really about your strategic vision alignment. It's making sure that, hey, where are we going with this business? What are we really trying to do here? Right. And this is, for me, I like supporting those purpose driven businesses, right? This is not just a hustle. This is not just a, hey, I just want to be out here and make a whole bunch of money. Like, no, what are we doing? That's a vehicle. What are you actually doing with that? What's your North Star? What's your vision? And let's make sure that everything that we do has a strategy that's aligned with actually getting there.
So I don't hear people talk about the North Star often. So can you explain to people what the North Star is?
Oh boy. Uh I really had a great mentor who told me about ikigai, which is like a Japanese term, and a lot of people probably may or may not know about that. But that makes me think of the North Star. It's really what is your guiding light, essentially. What is that thing that is really the passion that's burning within you that makes you keep doing what you're doing for your business, right? Right? The heartbeat behind what you're doing. And if you don't have that, it'll be very difficult for you to continue when the times get really hard, right? It's that thing that really pushes you, and that's the alignment. And it's also the thing that draws people to you, right? I think that it aligns with, the purpose, our God-given purpose. It aligns with your gifts. It aligns with I mean, it's the thing that, really truly makes what you do and how you do it unique. And so people are drawn to that, right? They're drawn to those gifts. They're drawn to your story. It's a part of who you are. It's a part of your identity. It's your North Star. And that's it makes sure that you're always heading in that direction, that everything that you do is in alignment with that purpose, and it helps you from going astray, right? And so I think the North Star and finding that, I love talking to clients and finding out, like, tell me your story. Like, I need to know your story because that really energizes me. And now you have someone that has your back. I'm on board because I heard your story and I'm like, okay, I'm bought into this.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you for explaining that because I don't hear people say that too often, talk about the North Star. So, why do you think many entrepreneurs struggle with structure or systems? What's the thing?
I
What's our problem?
Well, I don't think there's a problem for that. I mean, I think it's just how we're wired, right? We are created for community, right? And everybody has their thing that they bring to the table. It's only in modern society where people kind of have this, you know, me, myself, be in the dark, don't tell anybody what you're doing, and then emerge, or my four no more, and that whole thing. But really, we were created for a community to come together, like where I'm weak, you're strong, and vice versa. And so I think that those who struggle with that, it's not so much of, hey, I have a deficit. It's a, where's my community? Well, who can I lean on? Right? Like, I might love process and structure, but and there's other areas where I'm totally weak in, you know, like, don't ask me to do your accounting. Like, no, I don't. I want to do that. I don't there's certain things that I'm like, I just want to stay completely clear of, right? I can point you in the right direction of other people who can do it for you, but I'm not going to do it for you, right? And so it's just, it lends itself to community, which is part of one of the reasons I love Barter Black so much.
I love it. But we are going to go back to the North Star because we had a question. Is there ever a time when the North Star should shift for any reason?
Oh boy, that's a challenging question. I'm not so sure that I even really know the answer to that. I think that our North Star, because it's a part of identity and who we are, our experiences can definitely shape that, right? A lot of times, some people's passion might come from a place of, extreme joy, and it's just something that they've always loved to do. It's like you see those kids and they just love music, and then that's like their thing, and they just get into music and they become like these great artists or whatever one day. But then it also could be something that stems from a traumatic situation where you see someone get hurt or you've gotten hurt, and now it becomes, your passion to make sure that people aren't hurt like that anymore. And so because it's those life experiences that shape that North Star. Maybe, possibly, depending on where you are in your life journey, it could shift, right? Or it's something that you're deeply rooted and invested in, and it doesn't. I mean, that's just my. I'm not saying, hey, maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but that's how I look at it.
Awesome. Thanks for answering that question.
Sure.
The next question, I think you touched on it a little bit. So, what happens when growth happens faster than operations can support?
Yes. Yes. That actually is pretty common, right? That's one of the big challenges is, a lot of times when people are going into business, we hear the statistics. We hear, oh, businesses fail within the first, like, 5 years, and how difficult it is and the challenges. And I don't think a lot of people remind themselves or even get exposure to what if it's very successful, right? And so a lot of people prepare for scarcity and struggle and not for abundance. And so you also, the other side of it is exactly that scenario, right? It's now I'm scaling. Now I started a cake shop from my kitchen, and I was just going to make a couple cakes, and I got this blender, and I just did all this, and now it just took off, and now I have more orders than I could eat. Now I need like a commercial kitchen, but I wasn't prepared. That's going to take time to get that, and now like I'm gonna have to turn people away, and now it's yes, that absolutely happens. And I think people have to they have to prepare for that. You got to prepare for both sides. And a lot of people don't prepare for that, right? So have that plan, have that contingency plan. What happens when that happens? Like you struggle because you weren't prepared. If you're prepared for it, then we could do something about it.
Yeah, I think a lot of times we're so used to doing the busy work that we don't stop to make sure the foundation and the structure and the strategy, like you're talking about, is actually can support the people that we want to come in, but are we really ready for them to come in? So I
Mhm.
love that. How can founders tell when they've outgrown their current processes?
Related to the last question, right? Things are sluggish, things are slowing down, you're not efficient, right? Things are falling by the wayside. Your customers will definitely tell you. Quality, right, starts to fail, various different things, right? And you feel it, right? Because it's going to affect your bottom line, right? When operations begins to fail, quality tends to start going out the window, and shortly thereafter clients soon follow.
Yep, pretty much. All
Mhm.
right, so let's focus on structure and support. I know this from you actually being within the Barter Black community, but I know you often connect clients to trusted professionals or specialists. Why is building the right support ecosystem so critical for growth?
Yeah, I think it's almost like it's like a natural thing, right? It's if you care about your health, right? You're going to make sure that you have the proper health team around you, right? Doctors, dentists, like, your various different folks that you need, right? The same is true for your business. Why not, right? This is your livelihood. And so making sure that you're surrounded by trusted people, accountable people, like folks that, provide quality works is just as critical. And it goes back to, what I said earlier. We need that community, right? We need the folks that can do the things that we can't do or the things that we don't have time to do. Just because you can do it doesn't mean you're supposed to do it. So we have to be able to trust people. And, not only is that, such an important thing for, you operating your business and not burning out, but your clients see that too, right? You have to be able to open yourself to trusting people, in order for people to trust you more as well.
Okay. So, what roles or expertise should every growing business eventually have access to, if there are any main ones?
Um, I would say, um, have your you always want some connectors in your pocket, right? Because that's always the person that's going to connect you if you happen to have gaps, right? So there's that, the person that just loves to connect people. You want to have your money people, right? These are the people who can help you with the financial piece, even if they're not in the service of doing it. They have the interest in it. They can point you in the right direction. They're going to bring those tips and strategies to the table. They're going to shed light on the things that you haven't thought about, right? You're going to need your technical person, right? That's going to help you with like, what's the latest in tech? Where am I missing in the technological items and things, right? Your creative person and your marketing, your branding, that type of thing that can help you shed light on your blind spots to that. And if you're lacking in those things, you need your business strategist like myself that can actually, shameless plug, right? That can help you in those areas and connect you with those people at the same time, right? So it's making sure your operations are as smooth as possible, making sure that you're asking the right questions so that when you do go to your tech expert or when you do go to your branding expert, now you're going to them with full knowledge of where you stand today and you're not wasting your money.
Yeah, thanks for that. Because I see it all the time in our meetings and everything. You are definitely the connector. So definitely get with Erica for strategy, structure, all of those things. What's one operational improvement that creates the biggest impact for most businesses?
Biggest impact. Ugh. It's definitely going to be along the lines of you definitely have to find efficiencies in technology, using technology this day and age, and I'm going to say AI, right? Do not be afraid of it. Right? Just learn how to navigate it. We're in that world, and so because the folks that are embracing it, um, they're moving exponentially faster than those who aren't. So if you want to stay ahead, you definitely have to embrace AI in the places where it's going to create efficiencies in how you do your operations. Automate, use AI, you know, build those efficiencies in, save yourself time, headache, all those different things. But, the more you learn about it, educate yourself, expose yourself to it. It's out there. You can get it free information. It can teach you itself. Like ask it questions. It's not hard. You can do it. You have to.
All right. So the point is embrace AI. Start somewhere. Just don't not start. That
Right.
that's that's where we are. Okay. So if entrepreneurs, where should I said start somewhere, but if they feel overwhelmed by the systems or the structure, where do they start?
Well, you could
What
start
do
with
they do?
you can start with ericabourne.com. Or I would say, start with your favorite LLM. Just, everyone, of course, they want to say chat gpt. Chat gpt is not the only one. There's lots of other ones out there. And here's a little nugget, free information for you guys. If you have a Google Workspace account, like a pro account, you're already paying for Gemini. Use it. You're paying for it already. So play with it.
Okay, so it's funny you mentioned that Google Workspace because my operations manager emailed me the other day and told me that I was paying for Google Workspace twice. I don't know how, but I am going to spend this weekend playing around, but also canceling one of these accounts
Yes.
and playing around with Gemini. So I needed that gem. Um, I looking on your website and everything. Beautiful website, by the way. And I see you have mentioned confidence in execution. So how does structure influence leadership confidence?
Oh, I mean, that's just Think of it as the same way of, if your house is messy, how confident are you in inviting someone over? Like, you know, it's when things are in working order and you have structure behind it and it's, working like a well-oiled machine, then you're getting what you're expecting out of it, right? And that obviously will build the confidence in, okay, I did this thing right. Like, it's working. Now it gives you room to tweak it and now improve it.
Awesome. So, what mindset shifts do you feel founders need to move from the operator to strategic leader?
So that one, from operator to strategic leader. I would say businesses, there's a lot of mindset shifts depending on where you're at on your journey, right? If you're new and starting out, um, there's a lot of mindset shifts that need to take place, that we don't realize or take for granted, or people just don't really talk about. It's like when I transitioned from my job into entrepreneurship, there was a whole mental whole process to go through, like, yeah, it's like, yeah, there's a whole thing. And a lot of that was shedding the way corporate does things and the corporate mindset. So if you're making that transition from corporate into entrepreneurship, that's a mindset shift in and of itself, right? And so it really just depends on, where you're at, right, in that process.
Okay. So, what does strong leadership architecture look like inside a business?
Strong leadership architecture, it that leans into that organizational piece that I talked about earlier. And that's ensuring that, as a leader, that you have those characteristics that allows people to flourish where they can flourish, right? Putting them in those right roles, like making sure that organizational structure is structured in a way that people feel valued, that the communication lines are open, all those various different things. And I think a lot of times, and we've seen this in like larger corporations where people lack the soft skills or those leadership skills or even management skills, right? That are necessary to be in that middle management or upper management level. We call them leaders because of their role, but by characteristics, they're not acting as such. They haven't developed the skills to be successful in those different areas. And so when you have those skills, then you can develop an organizational structure that respects you as a leader.
Okay. So now I want to kind of get into your services, what you offer. If someone is listening right now, what do they need to be feeling or doing or not doing that they know they need to contact Erica Bourne Consulting, like all of the things? What can you tell us about your services?
Absolutely. So, as you alluded to earlier, my services are built around what I call the Born Ops method, which stands for organization, process, and structure, which is where I specialize in. And it would be for those business owners, um, whether it's the solopreneurs at the smaller end, all the way up to like those larger businesses and organizations, multi-million dollar businesses who really need that strategic business partner or advisor to come in, unbiased and to assess where they're at, where they stand today. One of the problems that a lot of business owners will run into is, you've been head down in the business for so long that you can't really see, where your gaps are, right? And so to have someone like me come in and identify, not just where the dots connect, but how to build those bridges between them, where to find those efficiencies is very refreshing for business owners, right? Being able to analyze the various different pillars of your business and how to adjust your strategies accordingly, right? And being able to make sure that we, dust off your business plan and understand, like, okay, what is your vision for this business? Do we need to revisit this? Like, tell me what the North Star was, and are we still are we still heading towards it, right? because it's easy to get bogged down in those different areas. And so with the Born Ops method, I offer like there's three big packages with that. The initial one is the assessment, and it's just coming in, and that's kind of eye-opening for people. Like, just, let's have a conversation, let's talk about it, and then let's move into an assessment where I can kind of uncover various different things, bring in my partners and the ones that specialize in even other areas depending on what the needs are, and then creating that assessment of, okay, this is what we've identified, this is where you stand as today, as it exists today. Then the next one is the Born Ops Blueprint. And the Born Ops Blueprint is, okay, like, now let's plan where you are today. And with an understanding of where you're trying to go, let's create a blueprint for getting there. Right. And then the next one is, how do we integrate all of this? So the Born Ops integration is, now this is getting into the process, operational, breaking it down more into the granular. This is where we need to restructure the team. These are the processes. These are various different things that you need to put in place. And this is also where I connect you with my network of my massive network of people that can help get into their specialties and help you get there.
This leads me into my next question, which is very fitting. What do you love most about helping businesses transform? Because I heard it throughout, you mentioning all the services that you offer. What do you love most about it?
I like watching the light bulb go off. Like, talking to people. Like, I always, I'll do like discovery sessions, and most people are just, trying to fill me out. But then when they grab their notebook and their pen, and then they're just like, man, I didn't think about that. Right. Like, and they have those aha moments, that I love that, because, I'm shedding light on those areas that it just didn't even cross their mind. Those are just very different things. And, it, for me, those things come naturally, but I understand also as a business owner that, we can be so deep in the things that we do. And this is why a lot of businesses need someone like me, because, while you're doing the things you're passionate about, like, I want to help make more room for you to do your passion. I like, once again, I love hearing people's stories. I love hearing about like what drives them and why they do what they do. And so that's the other thing I love about it, is like, well, let me help you walk into your purpose even more. Let me help you remove the barriers so that you can have a purpose driven life.
So you mentioned, Jesus, what did you just mention? Oh my goodness, I just lost my thoughts. Ah, it was so important.
Oh no.
It was so important. No, I know, I forget what you mentioned, but my question based off of what you mentioned was, or my thought is, most people or most entrepreneurs don't necessarily invest in, or, get the things that they actually need in their business. Like you mentioned earlier today, they'll get the subscriptions and all of the things and waste their money. But how do you explain to someone who's watching right now that says, you know what, I can do this myself. I don't need anyone to come in and help me in my business. I'm not that big anyway. Like, what do you say to that entrepreneur? Because you know that you can transform their business, you know that you can get them prepared for what's to come. But how do we translate that to an entrepreneur right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's like super important. Because it's that business where you're fixing a problem that people don't necessarily know that they have yet, right? It's one of the two businesses types, right? And so I get it, right? Especially as a solopreneur or, a small business, you're very lean with your revenue and you don't have money to waste. But that's also my answer. You don't have money to waste. And so you understand already the importance of investing, right? I'll say it how we say it: scared money don't make money, right? So in order for you to do that, like, there is a part of risk taking, right? And calling it what it is. But it's important to I'd rather make an investment up front to make sure that I'm getting the right thing down the road than to get the wrong thing 2, 3, 4, 5 times and then having to go back and be like, okay, now can someone help me because I just wasted a whole lot of money. You're going to end up coming back to it anyway. You might as well do it early.
Yeah, I feel you on that because I think we're always in the mode of trying to save that we don't go for, the one that it probably is higher, but they're probably going to get us what we need in that one shot. We're like,
Yeah, I'd even use the example of let's take like your patent and trademark lawyers, right? It's a lot of people put off getting their IPs, patent, trademarked, whatever. And, they're spending time trying to defend you in court and protect your your stuff when you could have just got the service early on. But, they're fixing a problem that you didn't know that you were gonna have. It's like an insurance type of thing. Like if you want to save yourself because later when you don't have it, it's gonna cost you a whole lot more than if you just do it early on.
I totally agree. I know we want to save, but sometimes we just have to spend the money. We just have to. And I feel you on the trademark and all of those things because I've spent a lot of money on a trademark attorney and trademarks in the last 6 months in the four-figure range. So hopefully, well, not hopefully, it will pay off,
It will.
but it hurts.
Yeah, yeah,
It hurts. But
yeah.
I know it's well worth it. Um, so what's one step that an entrepreneur leader can take this week to strengthen their business foundation?
I would say I'm always the one that's like, it doesn't seem like going forward, but I would say pause. Like bake in time to just pause and rest and allow yourself to, you know, take a step back and breathe and just kind of naturally gain clarity on on things. I think that as business owners, we can just be on the go, on the go, on the go, on the go, and then we're always thinking that I'm doing so much and I feel like I'm not making progress because there's so much I need to do and there's so many things. And really all you need is just the next thing, right? You don't need to like jump into the pool of all the things, right? You just need to know what's next and the right thing that's next. And that takes stepping back and breathing and having grace for yourself. You're not perfect. Sorry, everything's not going to be perfect. Everything's a lesson learned. You're being shaped. You're all those various different things. And so taking a step back is not going to make you any less productive, but it's actually going to provide clarity for you to know like what's the next thing that I need to do, and then just do that. But just take the time to breathe.
I'm so happy you said that. We don't say it enough. Like, you really have to just pause.
Mhm.
It's super, super important because we're so knee deep in our business and this is our baby and we're doing the busy work and all of those things that we just don't stop. And then sometimes we just have to stop and look at it from the outside and not think of it from the inside. So thank you for saying that. I say it as much as I can, but unfortunately we're busy. And sometimes we're like, you are crazy, I cannot stop. But trust me, it does amazing things when you can stop and rest and just not focus on the business.
Yes.
um so I have a few rapid fire questions for you.
Okay.
I feel like what you just said kind of goes into these, but I'm just going to say it anyway just in case you have a different answer. Okay,
Okay.
first one: Biggest mistakes founders make when trying to scale.
Looking for a quick solution.
Mm, that part. One thing every business needs before real growth.
Clarity.
Mm, systems or strategy first.
Strategy for your systems.
Good job. A strong business foundation feels, and you fill in the blank.
A strong business foundation feels good. Feels gosh, I don't know why that's hard. It feels good. I mean, it makes things go smoothly, and it feels like you can breathe.
Mm, for
Essentially,
sure. For
Mhm.
sure. Strategy without execution is.
A good idea.
Absolutely. Let's get there.
Yes.
Scaling requires more blank, not more blank.
It requires more strategy and clarity, not more work.
Awesome. See, that wasn't hard, right?
That one, I don't know why I got stuck on the foundation one. That's so funny.
That's okay. All right. So, how can listeners connect with you or learn more about your work? Give us all the details.
All the deets. So you could find me on LinkedIn. It's just Erica Bourne. It's not the Burberry Erica Bourne. It's the Erica Bourne, the Erica Bourne Consulting. Instagram at Erica Bourne LLC. You go to my website, ericabourne.com. All of my social media handles are in the header, at the footer. So you could follow me there. Yeah. Oh, you're muted. I can't even hear you.
I forgot I was muted.
Oh,
But anyway, thank you so much. If you enjoyed the podcast, please reach out to Erica. Definitely connect with her. Thank you, Erica, for being here.
thank you.
Again, we host this podcast every first and third Tuesday of the month. So definitely stay tuned. Can't wait to see you next time and have a good night.